Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news, ballot battle. The fight over 60,000 ballots in the race for Supreme Court enters a new phase.
More breaking news. Poisoned by racism. A judge ruled race played a key role in the death penalty trial of a black man.
And we're back to warmer temperatures today, approaching 70 in the Triangle. But we have some big temperature swings over the weekend, and I'll walk you through that coming up in just a bit.
We are following two breaking news stories making their way through North Carolina courts. One could help resolve the last electoral race in the country. We have in-depth coverage, the race for the state Supreme Court justice. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Renee Chu. We begin with WRAL's Noah Klein on the Hassan Bacote ruling. Noah, the judge says race did in fact play a role in the trial and death sentence of the former inmate.
Renee, exactly that breaking ruling coming in with just the last 60 minutes. This case has been going on for nearly a year. The issue, though, even longer. The judge heard 2 weeks of arguments last February in the case of Hassan Bacote. Bacote was convicted of murder, sentenced to death in 2009 after a teenager was shot and killed during a robbery. Bacote was one of more than 100 inmates to file a lawsuit under the state's Racial Justice Act back in 2010. Under the law, inmates who could provide racial discrimination contributed to their death sentences would have their sentence commuted to life without parole. Bacote's lawyers said race played a role in choosing the jury who eventually voted on that death sentence. Today, a judge agreed in this case, but said his ruling didn't apply statewide and that all cases need to be addressed individually.
We expect that there will be efforts by other defendants to bring their meritorious claims to justice. And, I hope, though, that what happens is that the leadership in North Carolina finally sits down and wrestles with these facts.
Important to note here, this ruling, it doesn't change anything for Bacote himself. His death sentence was commuted by Governor Roy Cooper as one of his last acts back in December. However, he did order a review of all capital cases in that district, which is made up of Johnston, Harnett, and Lee counties. The state will be appealing this decision to the North Carolina Supreme Court. My colleague, WRL's Destiny Patterson, will explain some of the larger implications here and what it could mean for cases involving the Racial Justice Act moving forward. That's coming up tonight at 4.
Noah, thanks. And now to our other breaking news story. The legal battle over 60,000 votes heats up in court. The GOP wants those ballots tossed.
Let's bring in WRAL's Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie. She is live outside the courthouse with what's happened so far. What can you tell us, Laura?
That hearing is still going on. We're thinking it's going to wrap up pretty soon. But just to give you a little backstory, Republican State Supreme Court candidate Jefferson Griffin is still around 700 votes behind Democratic incumbent Allison Riggs. And he's trying to change that outcome by challenging more than 60,000 votes he says may have been improperly or fraudulently cast. Both sides are making their case at this hour to Wake County Judge William Pittman. Griffin is challenging votes in several areas. In some cases, their driver's license or social security number of the voter is missing from or is different in the state elections database. In other cases, their name may have changed or may be spelled differently in the DMV database, or they may have registered to vote before certain documents were required. He's also challenging some overseas and military voters who were not required to show photo ID. The state elections board says it accepted those votes because state law doesn't specifically require photo ID for overseas voting. But Griffin attorney Troy Shelton says the law doesn't specifically not require it.
Before courts start recognizing special exemptions for certain categories of voters, like overseas voters, we should expect a clear statement of that exemption from the legislature to that effect. But we don't see that.
You can't gamble on an election, see that you've lost, then after you lose, try to undo the result by changing the rules. Now, that's exactly what's happening with each of these 3 protests. There was no question what the rule was when we went into this election.
That's Riggs attorney Ray Bennett. He said Griffin has not shown any evidence that any of the voters he's challenging voted fraudulently. He said all these issues were raised before the election in a federal court, but the federal court decided to let the election go ahead as was, so it would be wrong to reverse that after the fact. In the meantime, demonstrators on both sides of this issue have lined the streets all around the courthouse this morning. We'll bring you what they have to say, their perspectives on this case coming up at 12:30. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
We continue to ride the temperature roller coaster this weekend. It is certainly a nice start to our weekend out there today. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is here now to walk us through those temperature swings. Not a cloud in the sky over Raleigh.
That's right. Beautiful start to the weekend, but we will continue to ride that roller coaster that we've been on really all month. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh. Look at the blue sky, the flags blowing in the breeze. A little breezy at times today, but very, very nice. Temperatures are in the upper 60s in the Triangle, 69 in Raleigh and Durham and Rocky Mount, 70 in Fayetteville, Southern Pines, Clinton, 71 in Goldsboro. So definitely milder today compared to the 50s we had yesterday. 21 degrees warmer right now in the Triangle, 25 degrees warmer in Goldsboro and Rocky Mount. So certainly a warmer air mass in place for today. Now that's going to change starting tomorrow. Today's high up to about 72. Tomorrow we're back down to around normal, 53 for the high temperature. And then we're going back up on Sunday, 71 for the high temperature for Super Bowl Sunday. And we'll keep the roller coaster going into next week. After Sunday, high temperatures only in the 40s Monday and Tuesday. And that is going to come with a rainy pattern as well. So the temperature roller coaster continues. Next week, the biggest concern is going to be the potential for some rain and perhaps heavy rain. I'll show you how much we could get. And I'll also talk about who could see a few snowflakes mixing in at times. That's coming up.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, Apex police have arrested 6 people in connection to car break-ins, multiple car break-ins. All suspects are in custody. They were taken into custody today. All of those 16 still being processed. This happened near US 64 and Old Jenkins Road. When police were called, a group of people ran from the scene. Again, they were able to catch them. 6 people in custody. Apex police say they have seen an increase in break-ins lately. This investigation is ongoing.
Michelle, thanks. We are working to learn the source of an aircraft emergency at RDU. Sky 5 flew over the airport around 9 this morning. We're told that emergency involved an American Airlines plane. We do not know the extent of the incident. We will update you as soon as we learn any more information.
Raleigh police say the man killed in a motorcycle crash was an 18-year-old. This happened this morning on Falls of Neuse Road near Quail Ridge, or I should say this happened last night. Officers say that a motorcycle collided with the back right of a car, and Ethan Murillo Saron died at the hospital. Now, at last check, police do not think that he was impaired. The case is still being investigated, and no charges have been filed at this time. We are waiting to learn the identity of a man who died in a car crash on Highway 264. This happened just before 12:30 this morning near Bailey Township. This video shows a red car that has damage to the side of it, and you'll see it's right here near the tree line. No word just yet on what led to this crash.
Stocks are in a free fall right now after mixed reports on the U.S. job market showed hiring last month was less than half of December's rate, but also that the unemployment rate eased. Look at the Dow, down 300 points. S&P 500 in the red as well, down 60 points. NASDAQ, a triple-digit drop, down 260 points at this hour. Pretty rough final end to the work week for stocks. The Wake County Animal Center is closed today after 3 dogs died from a respiratory infection called strep zoo. The facility will be closed for at least 30 days so vets can contain the outbreak. Right now, there are nearly 300 animals at the center. There will be no adoptions or surrenders while the facility is closed.
Today marks National Wear Red Day. It's an American Heart Association campaign to raise awareness about heart disease. That is the leading cause of death for women in the United States. This morning, students at Davis Drive Elementary in Cary were part of an assembly to kick off the Kids Heart Challenge.
When I think back to my own childhood, I really didn't even think about health at all. And when you start thinking about it younger, you develop healthy habits. And then as an adult, you don't have to relearn something. It just becomes part of you.
Now think about this. According to the American Heart Association, nearly 45% of women over the age of 20 live with some form of heart disease.
Declassification deadline. How soon more information on the RFK, JFK, and MLK assassinations could be released?
Plus, deadly plane crash in Brazil. We are taking you to the crash site where investigators say 2 people were killed.
And health plan overhaul. A live report on the effort to make health care more affordable for state workers.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Getting you a live look outside right now at the Legislative Building on a very blue sky, clear day. It's going to be a nice one. Get outside. As you're watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or your streaming device. Well, today is the deadline from the Trump administration for intelligence agencies. They're supposed to have a plan to declassify the remaining sealed files in 3 assassinations: President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Here's NBC's Stephanie Gosk.
This morning, more than 60 years after President John F. Kennedy was assassinated riding in a presidential motorcade in Dallas, intelligence agencies are supposed to deliver a plan to the White House outlining the public release of the remaining files in the case.
I think there is definitely revelatory material in there.
Investigative journalist Jeff Morley is especially interested in information about a CIA agent who worked in Cuba. Testimony from another CIA official that remains heavily redacted, and letters Jackie Kennedy wrote to President Lyndon Johnson, along with 4 interviews she gave to a historian in 1964.
Jackie Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy are known to have privately not believed the official story of the assassination.
For decades, the sealed documents fueling conspiracy after conspiracy, even though the vast majority have long been public. Was the CIA somehow involved? Did Lee Harvey Oswald take his orders from a foreign government? Theories that are still believed by some to this day, even though multiple investigations and the Warren Commission concluded Oswald acted alone.
Everything will be revealed.
President Trump signed an executive order releasing the files on all 3 of the assassinations that rocked the country in the 1960s. President Kennedy, his brother Robert, and Martin Luther King Jr. But it is the shooting of JFK and speculation about what has yet to be revealed generating the most interest.
It's long time overdue for transparency.
Investigative journalist Gerald Posner disagrees that what remains is going to be revelatory.
We have 515 files that are withheld in full. So everybody thinks that must be where the treasure trove is. If there's a smoking gun, it's going to be in there.
But he says 499 of them are just tax files. Posner blames the CIA itself for enabling what have become some of the most enduring conspiracies in U.S. history.
This is what they're doing time and time again at the CIA, over-redacting, holding back on information which the American people have a right to see.
And that was Stephanie Gosk reporting. The British government plans to demolish the remains of Grenfell Tower nearly 8 years after a deadly fire claimed 72 lives. This was the scene in June of 2017 when flames raced through the 24-story tower in London. The fire started in a faulty fridge freezer on the 4th floor. Flames quickly spread around the block because the tower was covered in highly flammable cladding. Some survivors want the tower to remain until people are prosecuted. Work to demolish the building is expected to begin after the 8th anniversary in June. At least 2 people are dead, 3 others injured after a possible tornado touched down in Morgan County, Tennessee. Emergency management officials say a mother and daughter in the same house died. Emergency responders are conducting search and rescue operations. The storm disrupted power, phone, and internet communications in the affected areas.
Your time is 12:14. We are just 2 days away from Super Bowl 59, and fans are looking to have a good time in a place that knows a thing or two about big parties. There are plenty of stores with official gear in New Orleans. The NFL experience offers a lot of interactive games. And let's not forget the fan zones, right, where people can get autographs from some of their favorite athletes. 100,000 people are expected to crowd the French Quarter and the Superdome, and they'll have a heavy law enforcement presence to keep them safe. Just a reminder, Fox 50 is your home for Super Bowl Sunday. It starts at 11 in the morning with Road to the Super Bowl. At noon, the Madden Cruiser will go on a Bayou adventure with Bill Belichick. And then at 1, Super Bowl 59 pregame. That show is going to start. It all leads up to the kickoff of the big game at 6:30.
Today we are asking you, who do you think will win Super Bowl 59? Look at that. The majority so far are going with the Eagles. Share your voice right now by scanning the QR code on your screen or head to WRAL.com/yourvoice. We will share the results before the end of this newscast.
I would like to point out that who you think will win and who do you want you to win are two different questions. I'm just saying.
For a lot of people, I think. But I think that's reflecting the general feeling out there.
I think so. Speaking of feeling out there, I mean, today it feels amazing outside, Amy.
It does. It's so nice outside. A beautiful start to the weekend. And really, overall, the weekend is going to be pretty good, especially Super Bowl Sunday. It's a little cooler tomorrow, though. We did have a cold front move through. Perhaps you heard some of the storms overnight. Well, now it's a quieter weather pattern as high pressure settles in from the north. Just beautiful weather outside today. Check out our Cary camera. This is the Carytown Park. And look at how beautiful it is. Folks out enjoying the weather. Hopefully, I'll get outside and enjoy the nice weather, too. Temperatures are really nice. It's already above normal. We're in the 60s and 70s. 69 right now in Raleigh and Durham and Rocky Mount. Low 70s in our southern communities. Just very nice to kick off the weekend. And temperatures will continue to climb as we progress through the next few hours. We expect a high temperature of 72 in the Triangle with lots of sunshine. It will be a little breezy at times, but overall, very nice weather through the day today. Nice and quiet for the evening commute, but notice the rain icons late tonight around 11 o'clock. A couple of spotty showers will be possible. It's also going to be colder tonight, upper 30s and low to mid 40s for most of us, maybe upper 40s down to the south. But this is generally just some light rain that won't add up to much, less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. So through the day today, a lot of sunshine, but some clouds start to move in. This is 6:30 tonight. Some clouds start to move in from the west. And then by the time we get to 10, 11 o'clock tonight, a couple of spotty showers will be possible. And this is going to continue into the overnight hours as well. Not widespread and not heavy. I certainly don't expect thunderstorms tonight like we had last night. No severe weather expected, but some light rain possible overnight tonight. But tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., we have cloudy skies. The rain is gone. And through the day tomorrow, just a 20% chance for rain. So while it's cloudy and cooler, at least you can still get outside with minimal rain chances. And Sunday, we do not expect rain and temperatures will be warmer with highs back in the 70s. But cloudy and cool on Saturday, definitely different compared to today. Probably about 20 degrees cooler with a high of only 53. And then next week, we're tracking the jet stream, which is going to have several disturbances right along it. And that means for very unsettled weather for us next week. We'll have several disturbances move through, bringing us rain. Temperatures will be well below normal with highs in the 40s. And we could have some snow mixing in with the rain at times in our northern counties. So this would be closer to Virginia. It looks like the accumulating snow would stay well into Virginia. And we don't think this is going to be a huge deal with the snow, but just we could see an occasional snowflake mixing in with the rain early next week in our northern counties. Now, we definitely need the rain, the entire area in a moderate drought. And this is a look at how much we could get, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches possible through next Wednesday. And the rain will likely continue into Thursday as well. So enjoy today. Sunshine, nice and comfortable, 72. Cooler tomorrow with cloudy skies. And then Super Bowl Sunday, 71, partly cloudy skies. Look at the highs, only in the 40s Monday and Tuesday. It is just going to be miserable as we head into next week. Just make sure to have the umbrella handy.
Amy, thanks. Funding freeze. Hundreds of workers in Durham have been furloughed after President Trump puts a pause on funding foreign aid. Coming up at 4, the other local organizations at risk.
And at 5, roach activity. 2 words you don't want to find in a restaurant inspection. 5 on your side will show us where that was found in this week's restaurant ratings. Altered by AI, the new feature Google is rolling out to prevent spreading misinformation through AI images.
Plus, celebrating scouting. The Boy Scouts of America is marking a major milestone tomorrow with a big change. First TikTok, now DeepSeek. Congressional lawmakers want to ban the Chinese artificial intelligence app on government devices. Lawmakers say the Chinese government has the ability to use the app for surveillance and spread misinformation to the platform's users. Chinese developers released DeepSeek in December and has proven to compete with popular American-made artificial intelligence. Google is adding new digital watermarks to images edited with artificial intelligence. Google's Magic Editor AI feature allows photographers to tap on people or objects in their photos and move or remove them. Users can also adjust lighting conditions and background. The watermark will not be visible to the eye, but will be detected by software and other platforms.
Transparency there. LG is recalling 500,000 electric ranges involved in dozens of house fires, but customers are not getting refunds or exchanges. Instead, they're getting warning stickers. The Consumer Product Safety Commission received nearly 90 reports of people and pets accidentally turning on the front knobs. These are knobs on LG slide-in ranges and freestanding ranges. There have been dozens of fires resulting in pet deaths. LG is offering customers a warning label reminding them to push a lock button. They would push that button when the range is not in use to prevent accidentally turning it on. Tinder is adding new categories to the Explore page to help you find like-minded dates. Now you can browse profiles in groups such as serious dater, long-term partner, and short-term fun. Tinder notes, though, that you can only qualify for the serious dater category if you have a bio, upload at least 4 photos, and set your relationship goals to a long-term option.
The Boy Scouts of America celebrates its 115th birthday tomorrow, and when it happens, the organization will be under a new name. The organization is changing its name to Scouting America. Sites across the country will also illuminate in red, white, and blue to celebrate. The president of the organization says the rebrand allows for a reset after filing for bankruptcy in 2020. The organization is also working to incorporate multilingual tools for parents who use English as their second language.
Time is 12:24. Change is on the way. The state health plan getting an overhaul. A look at the proposal after the break.
The role of race in the courtroom. A judge rules that race did play a role in the death row sentencing of a black man. And here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Now at 12:30, the legal battle over 60,000 votes is being heard in Wake County Court today. This is the only race from the November election in the whole country that has yet to be called definitively. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is live outside the courthouse right now. Laura, you've been hearing from people on both sides of this issue who are there today.
I have. I've spent most of the morning upstairs listening to this, the hearing, and that's just about to wrap up right now. In the meantime, throughout the morning, there have been protesters all over the streets, all around this building on both sides of this issue. On Salisbury Street, just before the hearing started, Riggs supporters and Griffin supporters were just a few yards apart on the sidewalk. Tanner Williford is the husband of Maria Ramirez, a registered voter whose vote Griffin is challenging. He came from Raleigh to Raleigh from Durham, I should say, to make his voice heard. He said they still don't know exactly why her vote was challenged and his was not.
They're claiming that there's some, error, done on registration. I mean, she's voted in other elections and there weren't any errors. So she had the legal right to vote. So I don't know what to say.
We still need to have these cases adjudicated one way or the other. And so as this continues to move forward, we appreciate the courts listening and hearing the arguments and being able to make a decision. And we'll celebrate the decisions one way or the other.
And that was Jason Simmons. He's the state Republican chairman, party chairman, I should say. They're backing Griffin in his attempt to throw out those more than 60,000 votes. Griffin says those votes may have been fraudulently cast because some voters are missing information on their registration or their information is different from what's in the DMV database. In some other cases, some overseas voters, military voters, did not show photo ID because the law did not require it. Griffin's attorneys say they should have been required to. But Riggs' attorneys pointed out in court that Griffin himself voted this way when he was serving overseas, and that didn't seem to have been a problem at the time. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, we're following the latest on the Hassan Bakout ruling. This afternoon, a judge said that race did, in fact, play a role in his trial and his death sentence. Bakout was convicted of murder and sentenced to death back in 2009 after a teenager was shot and killed during a robbery. Bakout was one of more than 100 inmates to file a lawsuit under the state's Racial Justice Act in 2010. The judge did make it clear that his ruling today did not apply statewide and that all cases need to be addressed individually. Now, the ruling doesn't change anything for Bakout himself. His death sentence was actually commuted by Governor Cooper as one of his last acts in office back in December. The state will be appealing this decision to the North Carolina Supreme Court.
And big changes are on the way for state employees and how much they pay for health care coverage. We're getting our first look at what that could look like. WRAL's Sean Gallagher joins us now for that story. Sean, this meeting, it just wrapped up. So what changes are we going to see?
Yeah, Chris, right now, nothing's going to change. Today, they voted on some technology implementations that would allow them to change premiums on a tiered system. But again, nothing changing at this point, though. We did get a detailed look about what those premium changes would look like. Now, just a reminder, we're talking about the state health care plan that is facing a $500 million deficit next year if they don't change anything. So the Board of Trustees was looking at a number of different options to tighten all over the place. But the big thing that they're looking at is the increase in premium prices. And they say if there's an increase of about $30 per month across the board, that could save the state $100 million. But they're looking at doing this on a tiered system. Essentially, those who make less would pay less. Those who make more would pay more. So people who make under $65,000 a year would see an increase of about $20 to $25 a month. That's people like teachers who haven't seen a significant pay raise in years. It's something that new treasurer Brad Briner tells me he doesn't relish. He recognizes that this would be tough for everybody, but this is a mountainous deficit that they're facing, so something needs to be done. Now, I did speak with the North Carolina Association of Educators president. She says that this difference could be a big deal for teachers in their system. It could be the difference between, paying for a doctor's visit. It could be the difference between putting food on their table or even keeping the lights on in their house. But just a reminder, nothing is changing as of this point. This is just one step in the process. They will meet next month where they will have more feedback about all of this and the plan going forward. And then sometime in August is when they will make a final decision on when, if, and how much those premiums will change. In Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Raleigh police are investigating the death of a woman found in downtown Raleigh. Video from the scene on Davie Street around 11:40 last night shows the breaking news tracker there as police are putting up crime tape and searching the scene for clues. No word on cause of death. Traffic is moving again in Litchford Road after a crash this morning. This also in Raleigh. This was the view from Sky 5 over Litchford and Coxondale Drive shortly before 10 a.m. We could see a car against a power pole with heavy damage. Another car with front end damage was in the center of the road. No word on what caused the crash or if there are any charges.
A case of child abuse and murder exposed critical failures in North Carolina's foster care system. It's the focus of our new WRAL documentary, Broken, Foster Care in North Carolina. Our WRAL documentary team investigated the Avante Devon case. She's the Fayetteville mother accused of murdering 2 of her 5 kids who she adopted, Blake and London Devon. Detectives say she had 9 different aliases.
Did the state fail these kids?
I think that they're county failings.
Someone needs to be held accountable because Avante Devin is not the only one at fault here.
The documentary also shows the problems and lack of oversight in North Carolina's foster care system. You can watch Broken Foster Care in North Carolina by scanning this QR code right here on your screen. You can also find that documentary on our YouTube page. Time is 12:35. A cruise catastrophe. More than 90 people sick on a ship. The efforts trying to stop that spread.
And you cannot outrun a horse. A suspect trying to get away from police learned that the hard way. And information comes in quickly, and you can stay up to date on the ever-changing headlines with the WRAL News app. Download the upgraded version today. A Royal Caribbean cruise ship with dozens of sick passengers and crew members is expected to dock tomorrow in Florida. The CDC says 89 passengers and 2 crew members on the Radiance of the Seas came down with a gastrointestinal illness, and those affected have been isolated from the rest of the ship. The ship stepped up cleaning and disinfection procedures. The highly anticipated Netflix documentary about musical virtuoso Prince will not be released. Representatives of the late singer's estate were not happy with what they viewed as factual inaccuracies and sensationalized portions of Prince's life. Netflix released a statement saying the platform reached a mutual agreement that will allow the estate to develop and produce a new documentary. Prince died from an accidental overdose of the opioid fentanyl in April of 2016. He was 57.
2 people died when a small plane crashed on a busy street in Brazil, and 6 other people were injured as well. The plane went down in a neighborhood in the city, and a piece of the plane hit a bus and injured a woman inside. Another piece of wreckage hit a motorcyclist. 4 additional victims at the site were taken to hospitals in the region with minor injuries. Images on local media showed the plane's fuselage and the bus on fire, but at last check, no word on the cause of that crash. Teams are searching the open waters of Alaska, and that's because a regional plane with 10 people aboard disappeared in rough weather. The plane was last seen over the Norton Sound yesterday afternoon. The Cessna was about 12 miles offshore when a flight tracker just lost its position. Alaska State Police were notified yesterday at 4 that the flight was overdue. Air searches were limited because of poor weather and visibility, and now the U.S. Coast Guard and the Air Force are assisting.
Climate crackdown. The White House is limiting how climate change is discussed. After the break, how information about global warming is now being silenced.
Plus, inside a multi-million-dollar mega mansion. The inspiration behind the record-shattering sell. We've got that next. The Trump administration is making changes to how climate change is discussed. Information from federal websites was removed, and government officials are now limited in participating in climate change events. As WRAL climate change reporter Liz McLaughlin reports, critics say it's an effort to ignore science.
404 not found. That's what you'll see if you try to access the White House's climate change webpage. Error messages are popping up across government sites as the Trump administration directs a purge of climate data. Internal emails like this Department of Transportation memo show federal agencies have been ordered to delete or alter climate-related web pages, scrubbing key information from public view. The EPA once featured climate change prominently on its homepage. Now it's not even listed under environmental topics, but bed bugs made the cut. The State Department, Department of Defense, and USDA have also removed climate resources, including Forest Service wildfire information, which help farmers and land managers adapt to extreme weather. NC State Earth Sciences professor Walt Robinson says scientists are alarmed.
Putting our head in the sand approach doesn't work. We're facing already, we can see that in North Carolina this year very obviously, facing impacts of climate change. All over the world people are facing impacts, so we have to confront it, and pretending it's not happening is not a solution.
Scientists overwhelmingly agree. More than 99% of peer-reviewed studies confirm climate change is real and driven by human activities like burning fossil fuels. This crackdown on climate data also goes against public opinion. According to Yale research, nearly 2/3 of Americans believe climate change is happening. And here in Wake County, more than 70% say they're worried about it. Liz McLaughlin, WRAL News.
I should mention NASA's main climate change website is still up, but warns it will look different in the coming months.
Scientists say Earth just had its hottest January on record, despite expected lower temperatures from La Nina. That's the cyclical weather pattern that cools the Pacific Ocean and generally brings lower temperatures with it. The world reached record highs despite La Nina. Some scientists believe lower air pollution helped to boost temperatures. While generally bad for health, air pollution also tends to help more clouds form, which shield Earth from the sun. And earlier this week, we hit a record high of 80 degrees out at RDU. I think that was on Tuesday. It's been a up and down week for us.
It has been. In fact, just a record-breaking week. We have Amy Wilmoth behind us there. What is it, 5th warmest on record?
5th warmest February. We're not too far into February, but already it's been kind of warm. We have had some major ups and downs, but we did break that record 80 degrees earlier this week. We do have colder air that arrives next week, and that is going to come with some rain as well. It is mild today. Beautiful weather. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh. A little breezy. We have a steady wind out of the northwest at 11 miles per hour, but it's 69 degrees right now. We have gusts at about 17 miles per hour. It'll be breezy on and off throughout the day today, but temperatures are mild despite the northwesterly flow. Now you'll start to feel the difference in the temperatures overnight tonight. It'll be colder, and heading into tomorrow, it's going to be closer to normal with highs mainly in the 50s, but 69 right now in Raleigh and in Durham. It's 69 in Rocky Mount, 72 now in Goldsboro, 71 in Clinton, 70 in Fayetteville and Southern Pines. So high temperatures above normal today, 72 for the high in Raleigh, 70 in Durham. Just gorgeous weather, a nice start to the weekend, nice and dry with plenty of sunshine as well. This evening, if you're headed out and about, you might want to take the umbrella if you're going to be out late. A couple of spotty showers will be possible. Through the evening commute, we should be dry, and then it's about a 20% chance at 7 p.m. It goes up to about a 30% chance for some rain by 11 o'clock with temperatures in the 50s from 7 p.m. and beyond. Eventually, we'll get down into the 40s overnight tonight. We had a front move through overnight, and that brought some thunderstorms to some parts of the area. We're on the quiet side of the front today, but tonight, some of this rain that's west of us right now will move through. It's going to be very, very light rain. And then this front is going to lift back to the north as a warm front on Sunday. We'll be back in the 70s. And then this cold front swings through late Sunday, and that's going to trigger some colder temperatures next week, and we'll have several disturbances roll through, which will bring us rain, maybe some snow at times in our northern counties. But for the weekend, planning that out. Not as warm Saturday, so we're back down to some cooler temperatures. It's cloudy, 53 for the high. Super Bowl Sunday, just a small rain chance very late, mainly during the nighttime hours, but 71 for the high. The record is 75, so we're approaching that. If you're hosting a Super Bowl party, at least the weather is nice. If you want to do some grilling outside, it'll be in the 60s through about 6 p.m. and then low 50s by 7 p.m. and we don't expect rain until late at night. And then looking to next week, we're tracking the wedge. It's going to bring in some cold temperatures next week. We'll have rounds of rain each day. It'll be below normal with highs in the 40s, and then maybe some snowflakes mixing in at times with the rain in our northern counties. So what we call this is a wedge. It's kind of cold air wedging against the mountains, and it kind of just gets stuck here, and that will be the case as we head into next week. A look at the 1-inch snow. Thought it'd be interesting just to show you. It's just our northern counties that could see a few snowflakes, but it's not even going to measure up to an inch. But rain, you can count on it. Monday and Tuesday, have the umbrella with you next week. It is going to be rainy and cold. Look at those highs. 40s Monday and Tuesday. We're back in the 50s by Wednesday and Thursday.
Hate it. All right, thanks, baby. So earlier we asked you, who do you think will win Super Bowl 59? And it looks like here, 63% of you are saying the Philadelphia Eagles. Kansas City Chiefs looks like it's got 37%. What do you think, Renee?
I'm going to go with the Eagles. I think America's trying to cheer on the underdog.
I said it before, you got to knock the Chiefs down a peg. 3 is too many.
We'll continue to collect answers throughout the day, so share this with your friends. Just scan the QR code on your screen or head to WRAL.com/yourvoice.
Batman, get that Batman now. Get him now. Hey, get on.
How an officer on a horse finally reined in a suspect.
There's Michelle McConaughey wrapping up for the day. And as we wrap up here, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following. Right now, lawyers are in court for the first hearing in the trial over the unresolved state Supreme Court election. Democrat Justin Allison Riggs received 700 more votes than Republican Jefferson Griffin. Griffin is suing, arguing that more than 60,000 people who cast ballots should not have been allowed to vote and their ballots should not count. Both sides are making their cases to a Wake County judge right now.
A Johnson County judge says race did play a role in the trial and death sentence of a former death row inmate. Bacote's lawyers sued under the Racial Justice Act, claiming race played a role in his trial and death sentence. Today, a judge agreed. The judge used the ruling to say all Racial Justice Act cases statewide should be heard and assessed individually. The state plans to appeal.
Apex police made 6 arrests in connection with recent car break-ins near Highway 64 and Old Jenks Road. Officers arrested the 6 suspects this morning. Sky 5 was above that scene, and according to police, Apex has seen an increase in car break-ins lately. The names of the people arrested has not been released, and the investigation is ongoing.
A Ferrari-inspired mansion in Florida shatters a local record when it was traded for more than $50 million. Casa Maranello is named for Maranello, Italy, which is home of Ferrari. The selling price amounted to more than $2,400 per square foot. Look at this place. The home boasts 2 massive primary suites, bespoke furniture, elaborate chandeliers, art, top shelf alcohol. Look at that pool. While the home was marketed fully furnished, the millions of dollars worth of Ferraris there parked in the 12-car auto gallery were not included in the sale. Not included. The buy was a trust linked to a retail property development company in Ohio.
May I point out that we classify it as a car gallery, not a garage? That's how fancy that house is. Goodness.
You get lost.
A Florida man needed a little more horsepower to outrun the police.
Oh, you're not going to be able to run us on the horse. You better stop.
What in the Red Dead Redemption is this? Mounted police in Jacksonville say they watched a 25-year-old man sell illegal drugs. And when he tried to run away, well, the officer pursued him on her horse, Nash. The suspect ignored commands to stop for a quarter mile, and he finally realized there was no escaping a galloping horse and eventually surrendered. Just another day for law enforcement. Mm-hmm.
Our pet of the day from the SPCA of Wake County is a big baby with a lot of puppy in him. Dave is a 2-year-old neutered male dog weighing 47 pounds. He is happy, playful, just excited to be in the world. Dave loves attention and will squeeze onto your lap for cuddles, but he doesn't quite know his size. It's like having a weighted blanket to keep you cozy. Dave's adoption fee is just $2.14 through Valentine's Day. You can visit spcawake.org.
Oh, look at that face. Facing furloughs, employees at a Durham organization were temporarily laid off as a result of the federal fund freeze. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, what the nonprofit is saying about the furloughs.
Enjoy your Friday and the rest of your weekend. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
We'll see you soon.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.